Who's excited for 5 minutes of fire?
I'm pretty pumped.
We got a couple rules for the night, do we not?
Do we?
A couple rules.
Oh.
Yeah.
No one gave me the rule book.
You know the rules.
No one gave me that. They didn't give you the $39.
One, get loud.
Oh, yeah,
like your
sure.
sweatshirt.
Right.
Two, get crazy, like your sweatshirt. That's
Is there
it.
a third?
Get loud, get crazy. How many of you can get loud and get crazy tonight? So when they're speaking, man, if you're feeling it, you can say preach it. You can say that. You can say that was for me. You can say that was for you. Whatever you want to say. Just make sure you're saying something.
Him.
It's gonna be good.
For him. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah. Don't point out the guy next to you, though. Just be honest. Don't point out the person next to you. Don't say that's for him. That's definitely for my buddy in the back. That's not cool. That's not cool. So let's just own responsibility a little bit. But we're excited about it. I think it's going to be fun. We got a good lineup.
So excited. So excited.
We're ready to start?
Yeah, we're ready to start.
We got a first guy.
Who's first? Which one of you brave contestants? Just kidding. You're not contestants.
Zach Matheny.
It's a joke. We've got Zach Matheny. Here we go. You can use this microphone as soon as I'm done with it, but not until I hand it to you. Just kidding. Here you go.
I'm going to hold on to this one so that I can commentate.
Thank you so much.
Hey, can we get it up for Zach one more time?
Are you actually timing it or no?
We got a timer up there. If it hits 5 minutes, there will be a buzzer. And then if you don't get off after the 5 minutes, then Jay Cantz will tackle you, just like he did Devin that one time.
That is the last thing that I want.
I'm just kidding.
I am so much more fragile than Devin Gilbert. I'm a toothpick.
I am just kidding. But we will have 5 minutes on the clock, and whenever you start, it will start.
I don't know. I'm waiting. There it is. All right, for those who don't know, my name is Zach. I'm a school leadership student. Through the school, we're provided with so many cool opportunities. I would say amongst three of us, this is probably one of the cooler opportunities we've had. If you guys do not know, today is the 5th of December, which means that Christmas is just under 20 days away. And our Christmas production, shameless plug for, what would you guys say, 13th time in the last 10 minutes, will be in just over 1 week away. If you guys haven't been there, or if you're scared to walk in alone, I encourage you that after looking around the room, there's probably about 100 other people who have either not been here before or in the same exact boat as you. So you'll find somebody that would like to go with you. Say that doesn't sound appealing. I'm sure that this option will not sound appealing either. How about you, I don't know, invite somebody. I don't know if that looks like a friend. It looks like a spouse. At this age, I'm sure it's not a spouse. I don't know if it looks like a boyfriend, a girlfriend, an old family member maybe. I don't know, an old neighbor, an old person, whatever it may be, invite that person out. Maybe they haven't been to church in a while. They haven't been to our Christmas production. Maybe haven't been around good community. Whatever it may be, invite them out. This past week, through the school, we're reading all sorts of good stuff. And if you read the New Testament whatsoever, I'm sure you'll see that Paul the Apostle is kind of mentioned a little bit. He's a popular writer in the New Testament. I've been reading a lot of 1 Thessalonians. Chapter 2, verse 1, Paul's in Thessalonica. He's writing to his ministry, and he wrote, "You know, brothers and sisters, that our visit to you was not without results. We had previously suffered and been treated outrageously in Philippi. As you know, with the help of our God, we dared to tell you his gospel, and in the face of strong opposition. For the appeal we make," iPad's flipping out right now, "for the appeal we make does not spring from error or impulse, impure motives, nor are we trying to trick you. On the contrary, we speak as those approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel." One of my favorite parts of that is he said, "But with the help of our God, we dare to tell you his gospel in the face of strong opposition." Now, opposition looks different to every single one of us. For me, it may be fear of rejection. For you, it may be anxiety. Opposition looks like whatever stronghold you have in your life. And if you're a normal person, you have many different strongholds. You see, sharing the gospel and living a life pleasing to God doesn't have to look like speaking on a platform like this, especially if you're terrified of public speaking, but it very well could. It doesn't have to look like praying over somebody in a public Starbucks if you're terrified of strangers. It simply looks like utilizing the tool that you have been provided with. This is far from a spiritual example, but we're going to make it into one. I have a cell phone. I'm sure a bunch of people here also have a cell phone on them. And as you know, that you can misuse a tool that you are given. And a phone has an intended purpose, which I think that we kind of misunderstand as the millennial generation. It's not intended to be used as a thumb pad to scroll on Instagram for hours or hours. It's not intended initially for screenshots or for Snapchat or pictures, whatever it may be. A phone's intended purpose is for the person at point A to talk to the person at point B, to send some sort of message from one person to another. But you see, we often misuse the tools that God provides us with. Each and every person here has a calling on their life, and I'm sure that some of you have multiple different, you're gifted and you're anointed in so many different areas, every single person here, and I hope that you believe that. We have spiritual gifts all wrapped up and in order for you to succeed at the calling that God has given you. And God has it all planned out. We just need to be trustful in it. We need to just have some trust and to use what he has given us in the way that he has intended us to use it. For me, the example I'm going to use my phone. And I don't know about you guys, but you have favorites, at least on iPhones. And I have like 7 or 8 different favorites in my phone. And through them, most of them are friends, family. One of them is my girlfriend, my parents, my sisters, my brother-in-law, whatever it may be, old friends from high school. But the thing is you think that these people that are in your favorites are like easy to talk to, right? They'd be easy to invite out to a Christmas production next week. Be easy to invite out to Sunday church. Be easy to invite out to hang out. Go bowling on a Monday night at 9:30, which is a shameless plug. Bowling 9:30. We're there every single night. But you're wrong. And at least in my situation, it seems that the people that we love, the people we trust, the people, especially parents, are so difficult to invite out to church. And it's just something, at least for me, so my opposition would be fear of rejection or something. So right now, I don't see why not. As I look back at what Paul wrote in 1 Thessalonians, he said, with the help of our God, we dare to tell you his gospel, that in the face of, we would tell the gospel in the face of strong opposition. So in the face of fear, of rejection, whatever it may be, to tell the gospel, you don't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be difficult at all. So I'm going to call my friend Grant. I'm going to call him right now. I'm just going to invite him out to the Christmas production. I sure hope he answers. If he doesn't, I'll leave a voicemail. Regardless, it's pretty simple though, right? Yeah. Right. Dude, what is going on? Not much, man. I'm at church. What are you doing? Take a video of your dog sleeping. See, like he's doing nothing right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, dude, I just want to let you know. Next week, what are you and Amanda doing? Next week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 different opportunities. Shameless plug, Faith Family Church. We've got a Christmas production. 3 p.m., 7 p.m., 5 of them. Talk to me. We'll be there. It'll be fun. Bring Amanda, bring the family, bring the dog. It'll be sweet. Can we bring the dog? Can we bring a dog? Somebody said yes, we can bring a dog. But cool, dude. Yeah, bring the dog. How many days are we talking? There's 3 of them. Bring them all 3. Cool. All right, man, I'll see you next week. See you, bro. That was really that easy, right? Just to invite somebody out to the Christmas production.
Nice. You didn't even hear the buzzer. In fact, I'm glad we didn't put it up there because then it would have interrupted your phone call. No, that was awesome, though. Can we give it up for Zach one more time? Now we got Lacey Kaufman. Lacey goes to Lake High School. Come on. Is this your crew?
Let's go.
Hey, are you Lacey's crew?
We got some people from Lake High School
if you're
here.
part of her crew. All right. Well, Lacey's going to be bringing the word. You got it.
All right, hey guys. My name is Lacey Kaufman. As he said, I'm a junior at Lake High School. I'm so excited to be here. So we're going to be talking about Psalm 18:28, which says, God turns my darkness into light. Now let me start off by saying, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are already familiar with the fact that God does some crazy things. Like he made the entire universe. That's pretty crazy. On top of that, he made the earth. God separated day from night, placing the sun in the sky during the day, the stars in the sky at night. Once again, crazy things. However, God is God, and God always does the impossible. So why is it that whenever we're faced with a tough situation in our life, we think it's impossible for God to fix it? We just got done saying he created the entire universe. If that's not proof that he does some crazy things, then what else is it? Well, God, I know that you created the universe, but this situation I'm in is different. God, you don't understand because you don't know what I'm going through. Well, that's not true. Because that thing that you thought was impossible for God to fix, it is possible. Because God is God, and God always does the impossible. So I've dealt with this a lot in the past year. That darkness, that toxic thing in my life was friendships. I was in some pretty toxic friendships. Not toxic as in drugs and alcohol toxic, but toxic as in our attitude, our mentality towards each other was awful. We were constantly bringing each other down, and there was never any encouragement. It would bring me to a place, such a dark place, where I didn't see any light. There would literally be times when I was in such a dark place, I felt God talking to me, saying, Lacey, this isn't how it's supposed to be. Lacey, I'm here to help you. And then those thoughts would come back to my brain. I'm like, no, God, you don't understand, not this situation. And so I tried to do everything by myself. I didn't want the help of God, and that's not a good idea. So then the whole thing would happen again. And I'd feel so low, and like I was in such a dark place. And once again, God would be there saying, Lacey, I'm here to help you. I'd say, God, I don't want your help. I got this. Because if I mess up this friendship, then this thing will happen, and this thing will happen, and pretty soon I'll be left with nobody who likes me. I don't want that. Finally, it got to a point where I was like, God, help me. And in that moment, I felt peace, I felt comfort, and I felt at home. Which is one of the amazing things about our God, that even though I tried rejecting him so many times, when I called out to him, he was still there for me. So even if you've tried rejecting him, and you've messed up a little bit, you can still call out to him, because he'll be there for you. No matter what it is. So maybe you're in a similar situation than I was. Or maybe your situation's a little bit more serious than mine was. Mine was just friendships after all. Maybe yours is some dark thoughts. Thoughts of comparison, because comparison is so prevalent within our society. High schools, social media tells you you have to look one way, you have to act a certain way, or else you're not cool. If you don't listen to this specific type of music, then you're just weird. If you're not wearing that certain brand of clothes, then what are you wearing? That's weird. But that's not true. If you take those dark thoughts, all those things you've been feeling, and ask God to make light of it, he will. It sounds crazy, but I promise. If you can say, God, these dark thoughts I've been dealing with, can you try to make me see the light of it? He'll be there for you. He'll remind you that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. It doesn't matter what high school says about you, what social media says about you, because our Father loves you, and that's incredible. So all you have to do is speak to him, because he will be there for you. So maybe it's something else. Maybe it's not the thought of dark thoughts or friendships. Maybe it's school. School can be stressful. I know school can be stressful. But it's not everything. If you ask God to remind you that Lacey, grades aren't everything. He'll be there to remind you. He'll show you the friendships around you, the family around you who loves you. So no matter what that situation is, no matter what that thing that seems impossible is, just remember that God is God, and God always does the impossible.
Come on, can we give it up for Lacey? Come on.
All right, up next, we have another one of our school leadership students. Let's hear it.
Come on, Blake.
Blake Stetson.
Wow, here we go.
All right, how are we all doing? All good? All good? You look good. Hey, thanks. Really quick, I just want to give a quick shout out to Lacey, because myself and Colin, we have the privilege of serving at Anchored at Lake. And oh yeah, absolutely. And it's been just a privilege and honor to see Lacey grow. And I know Kalisa would say the same thing about Hoover and her wonderful brother, Chandler. So it's just been really cool. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to be in 1 Corinthians 1, verses 5 and 7. And before we get into that, kind of like what Lacey just talked about, I think a big thing that, you guys at your age and me at my age, because I'm a lot older than you are, the thing we struggle with a lot is comparison, is seeing what we have and comparing it to other people. It can be really simple. It can just be your grades in school. It can be like, man, I wish I had these grades, I can get into this college. Or it can be a lot deeper than that too. It could be, my faith. I can look at somebody else and be like, man, I wish that I was just as spiritual as they are, because, maybe they read their Bible more. They listen to more spiritual music than I do, or maybe they have this opportunity and I don't. And, that was something that I struggled with when I was your age. I went to Lake High School as well. I played sports, and a lot of the stuff that I dealt with was, man, if only I had the ability of this person, if only I had the talents of this person, if only I had the opportunity that this person had, how much farther in life I would be. And even deeper than that was my family situation. I had a really broken family life, and I would always look around and think, man, my friends have really good families. It looks so perfect on the outside. If only my family loved each other the way that their family did, how much better that my life would be. And, in 1 Corinthians, this is exactly what Paul is talking about. He's writing to the church in Corinth, and he's saying that man, you guys don't have to compare yourselves to each other. You guys are so focused on how you stack up to each other, and you're not focused on what God has said about you. You're not focused on what Jesus gave his life for, and that's that he loves you so much, and he places so much value on you. And in verse 5, it says, "For in him being Jesus, you have been enriched in every way with all kinds of speech and with all knowledge." In verse 7, it says, "Therefore you do not lack any spiritual gift as you eagerly wait for our Lord Jesus Christ to be revealed." And what Paul is saying here is that each and every one of you have been made so perfectly, so uniquely, so perfectly, because God knew that the gifts he was going to give you they were only for you. You were going to do what is best with those gifts. You're going to do it better than anybody else was going to do. And he made it so specific for you. And I think too much we sit here and we look at other people and we go, man, I really wish I had their gifts. I really wish I had the opportunity that they did. And a guy named Jefferson Bethke, he does spoken word on YouTube. He once said, he said, "Stop saying that you're dirt. Stop saying that you're scum of the earth. You ought to be careful about how you talk about someone else's work." And I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, man, that is so powerful. If only we can just rest in that, if we can find the peace that God has through that, and we can see what we were truly created for, it's going to bring so much peace. And we don't have to look at other people and realize that, man, I wish I had what they had, because we can understand that we were so perfectly made. We were flawlessly made. And that God has a plan and has giftings for each and every one of us. And we each play a significant role. It could be something that you can look at and go, man, that's not significant. I want to be out there talking. But can I tell you that's just not true? And later on in chapter 12, he says, "But God put the body together, giving honor to every part, so that there would be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it." And these gifts that we've been given, like I said, they're so significant. They play such a key role in the bigger plan that God not only has in your life, but here in this church, in your family's lives, and the people around you, in your sphere of influence. And I believe there's two easy steps to recognize this plan and these gifting that he's given you. And one is just be in his presence. Just take time every day just to rest in his presence and what he says about you, because he's placed so much value in each and every one of you, whether you know it or not. Just go into his word and just read how much he loves you and how much he cares about you. And then be confident in those giftings that he's given you. That's the second thing. Just be confident and be bold in them, because he gave them to you for a reason, because he knew, like I said, you were the perfect person to have those gifts. Nobody else was going to do it better than you could. And as I wrap up, I just like Paul wrote to his city, or to his church in the city of Corinth, man, each and every single one of you have been enriched in every single way. It's not just for that church, that's for each and every one of us right now. And that each and every single one of you lack nothing. There isn't a single thing that he gave you that you lack. You can't look into somebody else and go, man, I lack that, because you don't. Everything that you have is so perfectly made for you. And so that's my prayer for you. Just rest in his presence, be confident, be bold, and walk the path that God's called you to walk.
Come on. Can we get up for Blake? That is so good. Well, hey, next up, we got my man, Chandler Midas, straight from Hoover High School. Oh, look at the supporters. Hey, can we take one moment, though? Real, recognize real. Check out the boots that Chandler's got on. Don't look at my boots. Look at his boots.
I like yours.
Game respects game, for real. Those are sick, man. Those are going to help you preach.
Okay, guys, I'm Chandler Midas. You all probably know my amazing sister somewhere out there, Kalisa Midas. She's awesome and the only person I ever want to share the same mom with. And I go to Hoover. I play lacrosse there. I'm a leader here at the United. I've been going to this church my whole life. And before we go into it, I just want to let you all know that these are not my words. These are words of the Lord, and I surrender my tongue to him and just let him move in this place and speak through me. So today, my title is going to be A Knee Wet Cry. A knee wet cry, in case you didn't hear that. And my verse is going to be Matthew 14:28 through 31. And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took hold of him, saying to him, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" So for me, this really hits personally because about a year ago in February, I had to create distance between somebody that I love. And all I had to do was just surrender it all to God and just let him move within it. Sounds easy, right? Only if I was perfect. And so I was at this point where I honestly was I got got depressed a little bit, and I just like stayed in my room. I didn't really want to talk to anybody, and I was just so like caught up in this situation where I got to create separation between this person I love that I always had with me, but I had to like create distance. And my problem was I was focusing on the left. Okay, so there's this wave of just fear, like, what if this isn't right? What if I'm not supposed to be doing this and I'm gonna lose this person? And then on my right, there's another huge wave of just stress. Like, I got school, I got this going on, like, oh my goodness. And so I was just in my room one night, and I was sinking. I was almost knees deep. I was like halfway up the calves. I was just sinking in the waves. And so I got to a point where I saw this verse, and I was like, wow, the power of a cry is just amazing. And the fact that when you're sinking, God is always right there in front of you. Even if your sight isn't on him, he's always on sight, and he's always right there in front of you. And no matter what, you can just cry out to God. Like I was in my room probably, or probably in the shower, because that's where everything happens. Like, so I'm just in my shower or in my room, and I'm there, and I'm like, I need somebody or something to just save me right now in this moment. So I'm like, this is like the last thing I can do. So I just cried out, Jesus, save me. Like, come on, like, pick me out of these waves, because right now I'm knee deep, because I'm crying. I'm just crying because I'm knee deep in this water, and I'm scared. So he reaches his hand out, and he just pulls me up in front of him. And in this moment, I just feel peace and just happiness and joy of the Lord. And so for all of you guys, like, just everything like going on in life, you might want to be looking to your left and your right at these waves just coming at you while you're stepping out of the boat towards Jesus. So if, like, for example, if you're called to go to college somewhere, I mean, that's a big step. So if you're stepping out and you have one step out and 1 foot in, you can't be doing that to God. Like, you got to go full on with him, and you just got to be there with him. And he'll guide you. And at the point where Peter was sinking, it says he was close enough for Jesus to reach out and grab him. So at the point where he was at his breakthrough and gonna be with Jesus and just in all his glory, that's when the waves started coming. That's when the devil started attacking, because he was at his breakthrough. And the devil will make one last strike before breakthrough, because, I mean, he's gonna lose in the end, but he's scared of it. And so I just encourage you all to, when you see this wave on your left and your right, no matter what it is, if it's anxiety or like stress or just loneliness, like, I just pray that you would call upon the Lord in his name, and he'll save you.
Come on, can we give it up for Chandler? That was so good, man.
All right, Chandler, it was amazing. Up next, we have another one of our School of Leadership students, equally as amazing. Carly, let's hear it for Carly. Loud and proud in the house.
We need some more participation from this side. I need a couple people to stand. There you go. Come on, a little more participation from that side.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Tyler.
Get into it. By all means, anytime now. This is the last speaker, though, so maybe now.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hey, United. Like they said, I'm Carly. I'm a Faith Family School Leadership student. And as a lot of you know, I could stand up here and probably talk for 3 hours, so I'm going to jump right into it. We're going to actually head over to the book of Daniel, and we'll be reading out of chapter 3. But I'm going to give you a quick overview first. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. 3 men love Jesus. Over here, just chilling, you know, doing their thing. And then King Nebuchadnezzar comes up, and he decides that he's going to build a statue and make everyone in this town worship the statue. And if they don't, they're going to be thrown into a fiery furnace. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it was real. And as you can assume, these men did not bow down and worship this statue because they love Jesus. And they didn't worship the other gods that the rest of these people did. So then the king walks over to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and he's like, are you really not going to bow down and worship right now? Because I'll really throw you into a fire. And so they're like, no, we're not going to do that. So they actually said back to the king, this is verse 16 through 18, They said, "Your threat means nothing to us. If you throw us in the fire, the God we serve can rescue us from your roaring furnace and anything else you might cook up. But even if he doesn't, it wouldn't make a bit of difference. We still wouldn't serve your gods or worship the gold statues you put up." Imagine having a faith like that. A faith that you could be about to be thrown into a furnace and saying, even if he doesn't show up, it wouldn't make a difference. Knowing your God is still good and believing that he will undoubtedly show up. Have you ever been in a situation that you feel like you're burning? Like something is going to leave you so hurt? I have. When I was in high school, which is like, when I was in high school, that was last year. I was really lost and confused on what I wanted to do with my life. I had 2 friends, and I know that sounds dramatic, but I literally had 2 friends. And we had grown up together, and we were all gonna go to Akron U together, and it was gonna be perfect. I was gonna go for English education. I had some really good scholarships. I wouldn't be really paying for a school a whole ton. But I didn't really have peace about the whole situation, but I didn't really want to upset anyone, so I enrolled. I wanted to make my friends happy, I wanted to make my family happy, so I enrolled to Akron U. I scheduled my classes, had my orientation, it was perfect. My friends and I, we all had classes together. It was gonna be amazing. It was gonna be a great 4 years. I decided to do English education because I had no idea what I wanted to do, and that seemed reasonable. I knew I could find a job, so that's what I did. Akron was the safe route for me. It was easy. But then I decided that I did not feel any peace at all. And how many know, like Josh said on Sunday, you can't put a price on peace. So I decided I was gonna tell my friends that I didn't feel any peace about this situation. And I was like, they're my best friends. I only have 2 friends. Of course they're my best friends. I decided I was gonna tell them that I didn't have any peace, and I thought, they're gonna support me. Well, they didn't. They told me that if you don't go to Akron, we're not gonna be your friend anymore. I felt weak. I felt really lonely. And I thought, would God do this to me? Would God really put me in this situation to be lonely if I was really following his will? I questioned, was I even called to ministry? I felt very weak. And then I stumbled across the verse, 2 Corinthians 12:9. It says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." I was hurt, but no longer was I choosing to be held back. I had a God who was ready to show up, and even if he never showed up, he had already done enough for me. So I chose ministry. I decided that I had to go where peace was. So I applied to SEU. I got in, and can I tell you, never once has God not shown up. Never has he broke my heart. Never has he done the things the world has done to me. He showed up so many time and time again, always shown up. Following God's plan in that season was the hardest thing I had to do. Choosing him was so unbelievably hard. I chose to not be held back by my circumstances. So let me challenge you. When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got in that furnace, God didn't just protect them. He showed up and walked through it with them. So let me challenge you. Don't be held back by your circumstances. Know that your God is good. And even if your God does not show up, he's still good. I challenge you. Don't be held back by your circumstances, because you have a God bigger than any of those problems.
Come on. Hey, can we give it up for him?
That was amazing. Can we hear it one more time? Come on, can you stand on your feet real quick? Can we hear it
Get
for
up
all
on your
5
feet.
of our speakers tonight? What an amazing job.
Yeah.
My goodness, so proud of each and every one of you. That was really, really great. You can go ahead and take your seat for just a moment.